Hello, welcome back. This is Coach Jeff Mills, your host on The Elephant in the Room. This video is entitled Cougars and Kittens. This is one of the videos that is addressed to singles. This is still dealing with the dating game as it relates to the animal kingdom, taken from Genesis chapter 2, verses 18 and 19, where God presented the animals to Adam first before he presented Eve to Adam. God presented the animals to Adam to see what he would name them. That was a test to strengthen and challenge Adam's discernment, to see if he could accurately conclude who and what is suitable for him and what's not suitable for him. And discernment is the key for you and I. And if we're single now, and we're still anticipating the day that we either, for me, once again, be married, but this time to the right woman, the prudent wife from the Lord that God chooses for me, or for some of you guys, for you men and women out there, those who may have never been married before and who desire a godly spouse, a godly mate. All right, so first of all, let me give a shout out to Still a Nation out there for yesterday's 2-point victory over the Baltimore Ravens. Still a Nation at it once again. All right, so now moving forward with today's video entitled Cougars and Kittens. So by definition, a cougar is an older woman that does not mind dating younger men. For a kitten, these are younger women that don't mind dating older men. The one thing that I know from experience that these two groups of women have in common is that they're both sexually active. They are still promiscuous. And many of these cougars and kittens are aggressive in their attempts to capture a man, be it young and old. For example, my first eye-opening experience with a cougar was when, let's say 8 years or so ago, taking my mom to hook up with some of her girlfriends for a luncheon. And I take her to her girlfriend's house, and riding along with my mom's best friend at the time, her aunt was with her, and her aunt had to have been maybe 10, 15 years older than my mom and them. And so the aunt rolled down the window, and she looked at me up and down, and she said, "Listen, if I was your age, you would be in trouble." And she looked at me like I was a barbecue rib. But that was funny. So that was my first experience with the cougar. So cougars and kittens are promiscuous. Not all. Some. Maybe just the ones that I have experienced. They want to be respected as queens, young and old. But one of the telltale signs of a cougar and a kitten is how they dress. They put their groceries on display for the world to see in public, and especially on social media. Doesn't matter how young or how old they are. As one lady put it, these women are rated like a video game. They're rated E for everyone. And no wonder some of these women grow up to be bitter and old, because they're telling the world, they're showing the world that they really don't love themselves by how they put themselves out there. Some of these women are prostituting themselves just to be with a man. They have lowered their value intentionally because they use what they got to get what they want. But the issue is they can't keep what they've captured. These women know how to use their body to get a man, but they lack the character to keep a man. And so there's a term that's out there that I was just made aware of maybe a year or so ago, and it's entitled the 304 culture. And 304, for those who may not be aware of it, like I wasn't aware of it, back in the day when we used pagers to communicate with one another, the 304, when you typed in the digits 304 and you turned it upside down, it spelled the word hoe. And so when I was growing up, the whores, the prostitutes, dressed a certain way in public. It was the mark of distinction where you could easily identify this woman as a woman of the streets. These women they only dealt with men on the transactional basis, meaning they would give their bodies in exchange for sex. Their price was up front, and the reward was given later. Fast forward to 2024, some, not all, Cougars and Kittens, some, not all, Cougars and Kittens. Last time, some, but not all Cougars and Kittens only deal with men on a transactional basis. That means they want to know how much money you have up front to determine how much of their bodies they're willing to give you in exchange. These women want you to sponsor their life in exchange for frequent, regular sex. But yet they still want to be respected as queens. That's confusing. And I'm not talking just in the streets. I mean, even in church today, where men are trying to be focused on worship and focused on the word. And then in comes a woman with a tight sweater dress on, and you can tell it takes all of the power of the Holy Spirit to keep your focus on the word, to keep your focus on the worship, to keep your focus on the songs that's being praised, that's being raised in worship. And in comes, cross your path, a woman with, looks like she's holding two bald-headed midgets hostage underneath her V-neck cut dress. And she has her yams hanging out the back. And men, we can tell that she don't have no drawers on. Either she got a thong on or she got none on. And it's very challenging for us men who are trying to get to worship and trying to focus on worship. And if you were to ever call a woman that's dressed like a prostitute a whore, or you would step to them and ask, how much would it cost for me to partake of those goods? They would be highly offended. And it's very confusing because we men are expected to treat women like queens, even though some live like they have no clue, no idea of what a real queen looks like. Number one, a real queen does not put her groceries on display for the world to see. She has those reserved for her husband at home, or for the single woman, her future husband. And so let me say this to you ladies who don't care about how you portray yourself publicly. When we men see a woman dressed provocatively like a prostitute, like a 304, the first thing that comes to our mind typically is, man, I can't wait to smash. And if that's all you lead with, then understand this. You are telling the world that you don't care. You don't love yourself. And then you wonder why some men will not commit to you, because we don't see you as wife material. This is why you get the phone calls after bedtime, after 9 o'clock, after 10 o'clock. This is why, if he does take you out, it is expected that you're going to have sex with him. And this is why some women get run through. And when the men are finished running through you, when they finish using you, when they realize you have nothing else of value to present to him to keep his attention, he's on to the next. And then sooner or later you find yourself 40 years old with children or grandchildren and not married. 50, 60 years old. And now you're desperately clinging to, clawing after, digging and scratching for a younger man. And for you younger sisters that are looking up to these provocative sex kittens that you see on social media and in the videos, where you don't care about how short your skirt is, and then some of these young kittens leave out the house intentionally with no drawers on, or you got thongs on with your cheeks hanging out underneath the bottom of your skirt because you're so desperate to catch a man's attention. Sisters, we look at you as attention whores. And yes, you will attract some men, but the kind of men that you attract are not the men who's going to marry you. Now, they may tell you what you want to hear. They may even go as far as putting a ring on your finger, but you're not going to keep that man's attention. Why? Because easy come, easy go. And so Cougars and Kittens have that one thing in common. They both end up alone. And now you've built a reputation about yourself that you can't avoid. Because when we run into you 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, all we remember is, man, that was good back in the day. I wonder how she feels today. I wonder if I just give her a call. I know I can. If I give her a call today, I know I can get over there and I can get them skins. If that's the reputation you want to leave for yourself, then I shake my head. And again, not every older woman is a cougar. Not every younger lady who's attracted to an older man are 304s or whores. Dave Chappelle put it this way. You may not actually be a whore, but some of you ladies are wearing the uniform of a 304, a whore. And you're telling the world this is who you are and that's all you have to offer. And it's a turnoff to men who were raised properly and who sincerely care about the women we entertain in our lives. And so specifically for me as a divorced man once again, I'm divorced because I allowed my lower nature to dictate my choice in the type of woman I would marry. Moving forward, I'm still attracted to beautiful women. But my prayer for myself is this. I declare and decree there's nothing in me that is attracted to an immoral or sexually immoral woman. I'm only attracted to the prudent wife God has for me. Totally different ends of the spectrum. Totally different. The prudent wife is not even in the animal kingdom. And even when I come across a beautiful woman, if my lower nature rises up, if my lower nature is clinging and clawing, I know she can't be the prudent wife for me. But if I come in contact, and when I come in contact with a prudent woman, a virtuous woman, a woman of God, it won't be my lower nature that's attracted to her. It would be my heavenly nature that seeks to learn how to